Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this afternoon's Feel Good Friday. We're so excited to have you with us. For those of you, maybe this is your first Feel Good Friday, I just wanted to give a little bit of background on this. This is something that TMA started right at the beginning of this COVID period. We thought this would be a great way to bring together the myositis community at the end of every week for something fun and something social, and just to connect us together during this time period where many of us are spending most of our time at home, So I'm Mary McGowan, Executive Director of TMA, and I am so thrilled to have Laura Deirdroff here, who is going to be running today's Feel Good Friday, and this is going to be a paint along. This is just a wonderful way to bring out creative juices and to have a lot of fun at the end of the week. And we are just thrilled to have Laura here today with us. Other sessions that we've done on Feel Good Fridays have included musical concerts. We've had inspirational lectures and speakers. We did a great laughter yoga session, mindfulness exercises, and poetry reading. So it's a lot of different things. If anybody is listening who would like to, perform one of these Feel Good Fridays, please get in touch with us and let us know. So thank you so much, Laura. Really appreciate you walking us through this paint along. We've been really excited to see how this will work with everybody, and everybody, I assume, has gotten their painting supplies. But Laura will, I'm sure, walk us through that. So Laura, thank you, and I will turn it over to you.
Hi. I'm not going to be on the screen most of the time. It's going to be mostly the canvas. The first thing I'd like to start with is I want to get right into what I was applying here. And this is just blue masking tape. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be ripping masking tape. If my easel stays where it's supposed to now, give me there we go. Okay. So you can, if you do not have very good finger dexterity, you can use a scissor to cut it, but you want it to go all the way to the top. Not all of them are going to go to the bottom, but you want at least one to go to the bottom. And then the other ones will just go like that. Now, if you have some finger dexterity, you can rip pieces of the masking tape. And notice that this has more of a jagged edge on this tree because I did that. Now, when I place this on here, one side's going to be jagged and one side's going to be straight. So then I'll use the other half of my tape and put it here. Now this is going to take some time, and I'm going to go over some of the other stuff while you're working on applying the tape for your trees. Right now I have 6 trees. Our mind likes to make things symmetrical, so when it says an even number, it tries to make things go that way. So we always want an odd number of trees. At least I do. I like to have an odd number of trees. So I'm going to add one more, and then while you are working on putting your trees on your canvas, remember to go all the way to the top. They don't have to start at the bottom. You can see the bottom of my thing. Yep. Okay. So have them at different levels throughout so it has more interest. Some of you might be artists already and you already know how to do stuff like this. If you feel the need to go on your own, that's fine. So while you're working on doing your trees, getting your trees, your forest set up, I'm going to show you some other things for a little bit. So this is going to be a computer within a computer. And I wasn't sure how to do this, so I decided to just do it on my other computer. My husband's going to be running chat. So if me rewind that. So if you have a question, you can type into your chat and you can get a hold of me that way. He'll read it to me. So it is, but see if I can get this. Nope, I want it bigger. Go away, bar. Anyway, I can't get rid of that. I'll go. Anyway, that's me. That was pictures of me. This is a little bit about me. I know it went really fast. Maybe I should go to PowerPoint since I'm not doing that. Sorry about that. I'll just do it this way. While you're working on your trees. Okay, so I've had DM since 2001. These are some of my watercolor paintings. You can see that. I don't know. I'm a retired teacher. I've taught in St. Louis, Omaha. I tutor at Concordia High now. I've taught art throughout almost my entire career as a teacher. And I started painting watercolors about 20 years ago. I also like to crochet. And I do fused glass. And I enjoy playing with the glass in my own kiln. Another one I've started doing is overglazing with porcelain, which is similar to watercolor. Today, though, we're going to be doing acrylic because it's an easy one to work with. Okay. I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to give you a little bit more time to work on your trees. While you're working on your trees, I'm going to go over color theory. So if you could glance up here, most of you probably already know this from kindergarten. We have our basic colors, yellow, red, and blue, and that's all the paint that, besides white and black, that I asked you to have. Trying to keep it simple. And of course, yellow and red make orange, red and blue make purple, and yellow and blue make green. If you're one of those people that have all the colors, that's fine. But I would encourage you to try mixing today. When you mix, when you want to make a green, don't take the dark blue and then add it to the yellow. Take some of the yellow to the side like this and pull the blue to it. I actually got too much blue, but then you can get a little bit there. Add a little more yellow so you get the color that you really want. But if you start with the yellow, that's fine. Now, sometimes what I like to do is I watercolor and do other things. Is I have this lime yellow green here, and I have a darker green here. I add a little bit more blue, and now I've got like 3 different colors of green on here. And I can keep going. I like to have a mixture of colors on my palette like this, so that I'm not going to be stuck with just one type of green. And if I do purple, I would do the same thing. If I do orange, I would do the same thing. Also, I have 2 glasses of water here. The one water for me is to clean my brush, get most of the stuff off. And this is a watercolor trick. Most oil painters and acrylic painters don't do this, but I have a clean one to wash afterwards. And then I can take my paper towel and I can blot off the excess. And then I have a totally clean brush. Then I can go into another color. This middle part's really important because if you want brown, really brown is just a mixture of all 3 colors. So I'm going to pull some of the green to the middle and then dab in the red, and I mix it and I get a nice brown. See? So you don't need to do brown. If you want a darker tone, the black, if you add a little bit of black, you can darken this. If you add a little white, you can lighten it. So any one of these colors you can do that with. I like to use paper plates for palettes when I do acrylic because I hate them, because they dry up and you can't use them over again anyway. So I just put a little bit of paint on each one. If this is probably about the size of a quarter. And I try and keep it a little bit at a time so I don't have a lot of waste at the end, because I end up throwing it all away. Because I like pure color. This is just acrylic paint I just got at like Hobby Lobby, but you all should have this. So of some type. You can get it at Michael's. You can get it almost any art store and that type of thing. Okay, by now, hopefully you have most of your trees up. If not, keep working on your trees because you want to have that done first. Just pay attention to what I'm doing next. Okay, the next thing I want to do is on my PowerPoint, I have some pictures that I want you to see. I'll pull that back up. Where did it go? Here, it's coming back. Okay. I'm going to go through some of these pictures. We're going to be doing birch trees in a forest, and that's what we're doing with the blue tape or whatever color tape you have, is we're masking out the trees so we don't have to worry about them getting painted over while we're doing the background. And so here's another one. And these are just to give you ideas. Please do not try and copy them. Your forest is your own forest. But it gives you an idea of what kind of different backgrounds you can have on it. I'm just going to do a real simple one. Nothing fancy. It's hard to do this when I can't go around and see how you're doing. So that's going to drive me nuts for a while. The different foliage, if you want a green foliage for summer or a light green for spring or a beautiful orangey yellow. Notice that that's not all one color. That's a whole bunch of colors. Here we have some of the leaves actually on the ground. So keep that in mind too. And notice that the sun comes through in bits and pieces, not a lot. You can decide how much growth is in between your trees and how much sky you want to show up. And this one's a real weird one, where you can be totally crazy and do what you want to. I mean, on your planet, your trees might be totally different. They can be whatever you want them to be, whatever color, anything you want, just be creative. You pull back the Zoom thing for my husband so he can see your chat. There you go. All right, so the next thing I want to do is my sky. And you should have a flat brush and you should have a round brush. If you don't have both, that's okay, but you'll be happier if you do. Also, if you pre-primed your canvas with white paint, it'll have a better finish, but if you didn't, it'll still work. One thing I forgot to put on there was a Sharpie, a black Sharpie. You don't need one, but sometimes it makes it easier to do the details on the birch when we're done. But I'm gonna do mine with the paintbrush, so you can try it too. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get some blue on my brush. So I'm gonna just get the tip of the brush in there. Don't get it all the way up. Just load up the brush really good. And the sky, you want to go across in a horizontal sweep like this. Not up and down. You want to go across. And if you are planning on framing this, don't worry about, you need to get it to the edges, but you don't have to paint the sides, because I know you're probably not on an easel. You might be flat on your table. And then you can't pick it up to do things if you have paint on it on the sides. So don't try and paint the sides right now. If you want the sides painted and you just want to hang it up without a frame, then you can come back later on and paint some more. I'm going to get some more paint because that's not covering very much. Also, if you want to, you can get a variegated sky. You can add a little white to it if you want. But I kind of like it when it's got a texture to it. But again, remember how the birch trees were? We didn't really see it. We didn't. I'm used to painting on a different easel. Am I still in the picture, Bill? I'm just going to hold it when I paint this part because it keeps moving on me. So anyway, you're going to get a good coverage going back and forth. You're going to go down about a third of the way down, unless you want to have more sky behind yours. I'm going to add a little water to my paint, which is so thick. So I'm just dipping into the water because my paint is so thick. I'm used to working with a much thinner medium. Okay. When it gets near the, you have a little problem getting some work into by the trees, then go ahead and go up and down until you get that, and then make sure you go back across like this so you get your sky. And as it gets wetter and fills more, then we can start to smooth it out like this so that it becomes more and more sky-like. Remember to keep your strokes horizontal so it gives some type of a texture of the clouds in the sky. Yeah, blue is really thick. You can tell I haven't used it for a while. The closer you get to the bottom, notice how it's starting to now get more of a, mine's a really dark blue. So mine's more of a night sky, but that's okay. If I want to lighten it up though, since I'm kind of thinking, should have used the other blue instead, I used the ultramarine. If I would use my phthalo blue, which is this one, I probably would have been happier. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get that in there. Now, of course, it's not going to work. Worked last night. It's coming out now. There. I like this blue a lot better for a sky. Oh, that's so much better. But it's still really dark. So what would I do? I want it lighter. So I'm going to add some white. Of course, it's never been opened. Is it still in there? Can you still see the painting wheel?
Yes. It's
Add an angle. Add some white to it. And now I'm starting to get the color that I want. So if you're not happy with your color, keep working it, because the beautiful thing with acrylics is you can paint over. This is watercolor. I would have to start light and go to dark, and I would have already been in trouble. Now I'm starting to get the sky that I wanted. All I did was add some white to it and make a lighter color of my blue. The nice thing about the dark in it is that now I'm getting really nice texture. So maybe it was a happy accident. Now, when I do the ground part, I'm going to meet the sky. So you want to come down about a third. I've got another canvas to show you that I demonstrate different techniques on. And you'll see that I have a crosshatch here, like a tic-tac-toe. You want your horizon line to be like a top third, not in the middle. You should never be straight across the middle. And this part here is another part where these cross, these are where your points of interest should be, the most important thing. And if you notice on mine, it's close to this part right here. I might need that again later. So I want to bring this down probably about here. So I'm going to decide where my horizon line is going to be. Notice I don't want it straight. I want it to be kind of curvy. And now I'm going to start working to make sure that I don't have any paintbrushes marks that go down. And now I'm starting to get a nice tonal sky. And you can see how the tape underneath there maybe it's too hard to see the difference, but there is a tape. I see some white spots every once in a while, so I'm going to get those. And now I'm going to rinse my brush. Oops, I used my clean water, so that means now I got to go to the sink and change my water because I washed my brush in the clean water. So I'll let you keep working on your sky while I do that. You gotta give them time to heat, otherwise. Some of them might say,
Remind them that it's recorded.
okay, Mary told me that this is being recorded. So if I'm going too fast, you can always go back and see what I did. So next what I want to do is I want to do the ground. So I can decide if I want to make it mostly green. I can put brown in it. It depends on what season you want it to be. I'm probably going to mix up some brown. I want to use, if you have another plate, mix up your browns and your greens so that you don't have to mess with just a little pot of paint. That'd be good. Try not to make it so that it's all one color though. Remember how my green had different greens? We want to have different browns because we don't want it to look like a coloring book. We want it to look more natural. So again, I'm going to use all three colors. But this time I'm going to be making brown. Some people call it mud, but it's going to be a pretty mud. And I'm going to use my phthalo blue this time. If I get it to come out. Oh, yeah, I can tell it. There it comes. And actually, I'm going to cheat and put a little ultramarine in there. Just because it's fun. If you can't hear me, please let my husband know that I need to speak up. And I'm going to get a little bit of white so I can lighten up parts that I want. And a little bit of black. I'm just going to dip some out. Easier. Now I have to wash my brush off because I don't want black on my brush. That would really make it dirty. Maybe I'll just switch to a different brush. I have extra brushes. You don't, but I do. Or maybe you do. New flat. All right. So now I've got my main colors again. So for now I really want it to be more of a warm brown. So I want the majority of it to be the yellow red. So I'm going to first start by creating my orange and get rid of that black in the middle. I don't want that. Thank goodness for paper towels. Okay. And then I just take a little bit of red, mix it till I get a little orange. Okay, now I have my orange. Now you pull in just a little bit of my phthalo blue. It's got a nice green. Now it's turning into like an army green, almost avocado type. Notice my brush has a lot of color on it though. So when I work it back and forth like this, now it's starting to turn more into a brown. That's a nice brown. Okay, but I want some of the brown to be a little bit darker, and I've got a lot of canvas here to cover. So I'm going to pull in some more of the red, some more of the yellow. Mix it again. My white's getting in there, so I'm going to tip it this way so the white doesn't keep running in there. I want a little bit more red in that brown. Starting to work it. Starting to become a brown there. Oh, a little bit of ultramarine decided to join it. Oh, look at that brown. That's looking nice. I like that brown. It's starting to become the one. Now, if you have brown and you want to use it, please add a little bit of different colors to it. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to make mostly yellow with it this time. So now I'm getting a different brown. Like this. Bill? Bill's telling me to hold it different angle. Whoops. Okay, another brush. I'm making a mess. Now I have a reddish brown and that brown, so I'm gonna make a really red brown over here. Add a little bit of blue. It's almost a purplish brown. So when I start painting, I can have a variety of browns. And I'll keep mixing as I go. Now the further away it is, the lighter it is. So the closer it is, the darker it is. So I don't mind that this part here is going to be a little bit light. I'm just going to bring it right up into the blue. And I'm going to paint this. Now, usually when I teach, I don't finish a painting. I just start showing techniques. So don't expect mine to be finished. I do want to show you something though before I go on before I forget. This is a birch log. So keep that in mind. We're going to be using different techniques to help us get that after we take the paint off. So now we're just going to work on painting our foreground, our grass, my ground, wherever it's kind of light. Now some people don't actually paint into the sky like I am, but I don't mind. I can always add definition. My problem is that at the bottom of mine, I purposely left it kind of airy so that when my ground comes up to it, I'm switching a bit of colors now. My ground comes up to it. I get a little bit of a mix of the blue with it. And it darkens it just a little bit. So that when I add more details, then I've got a nice clean line. And if it goes up into your blue, just keep on smoothing until you're happy with it. Okay, so now you can see that there's different tonal values in it. This is kind of not as smooth as the other parts, but that's okay because I'm going to come back in with more paint and start to smooth it in. And again, you want to go across for a while. Or you can go up and down because this is ground. So you can almost use something like going up and down like I am right here. You go across, down, cross, down, cross, down. And all of a sudden you're getting texture in there, which is what ground is texture. This is not the final coat on your ground. This is just the background color for your ground. Your sky is pretty much done. But this part, it's not. Because we're going to add more details after we take off the tape. Some of this will show through. Depends upon how much stuff you add to it. So cross and down. Cross and down. Careful not to cross into your blue now. I like to pull down from the line though. Kind of smooth it so that it becomes one piece. When I feel like it. Notice there's some green starting to come through on some of my brown, but that's okay. Because we're going to add some brown, some greens anyway. Now, if you are doing a more of a spring one, you can use greens to do this. Depends upon what season. We're going to be doing a fall one today. I'm not used to painting in front of a camera, so this is really weird. Hopefully you're painting too. There's a little bit of a, by the tape, you have to, I like to twirl my brush to make sure it works it in there so that I don't end up with a little skippy thing. Starting to run out of some of my browns, so I'm gonna have to make some more. The thinner you put on the paint, the quicker it'll dry and the easier it'll be for you in the end. So now I'm going to take some more of my yellow, more of my red, mix it in the middle, get my browns going again, that middle brown, add a little blue, get some brown, spread it out just a little bit with this side, make it so this one more of a reddish brown, purplish brown. Kind of clean off the brush a little bit. Come over and work on the yellow side. So I have yellow, green, brown. Got my three different browns, which I'll mix when I paint on the thing. It'll give me different colors as I go. Again, the more, I got a lot more paint on my brush now. Remember to go down, across, down, across, down, across. What time is it, Bill?
2:35.
I don't know how long they expect these things to last. When I paint with people, usually it takes 2 hours because I'm going around and helping people. So this should go faster because I'm not doing that. But it feels really weird not to be going around and seeing how people are doing. Basically, it's kind of fun just to create. I'm gonna pick this up. It's a little bit easier for me to get the bottom part. If I do acrylics, I usually have an easel that I stand at. So this is kind of weird to be sitting. Notice I'm just kind of covering it as I feel like it. There's no real rhyme or reason as to why I'm hitting the parts that I am. If it looks more like brush strokes, I hit it again and make it look just a little bit more random. But I do want to get it so that there's no white spot showing through. And that takes time. Oh, some nice greens in that one. Kind of like opening a present. I just reached down and stuck my brush in and I ended up with green.
Happy surprise. Happy little trees. Happy surprise.
That's a little bit red. That's a little bit too red. I'm gonna have to come back into that one. Maybe not. It's starting to blend in a little bit. It looks just a little bit off to me though in my eyes. I'm used to more brown. So come over here. This one's also a little bit more green. Interesting. With that little white spot there. I used to get together every Saturday and paint with a group. I was doing watercolor, but you could bring whatever you're working on. We just kind of share the time and have somebody to do it, but also it gives you a chance to set aside time that you're actually going to devote to what you want to do.
Does anyone have any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Bill is waiting for your
No,
chat.
that's what she-
Oh, that was Mary. Oh, I didn't know she was still here.
Yeah, I was just asking if anybody had any questions, they can chat, put them in the chat, and we can go ahead and read them to you. Laura, this is just wonderful. What a creative, relaxing way to spend a Friday afternoon. This is, I mean, you're not finished, but we can definitely see what you're creating there. And I would really like to invite people who are painting, when you're done, if you'd like to share a photo of your masterpiece with us, we'd love to send out something with some of the creations from today's Feel Good Friday. So please share them with us, and we'll share them with Laura as well. This is just really, really fun and creative, and just a wonderful way for the community to do a project together. And be able to enjoy what they've created. So,
Someone said that they're having a problem getting the ground.
yes.
The brown. Okay. So if you remember what I said about having the 3 colors with the primary colors, I'm just gonna dip here and get some yellow, some red, and then my phthalo. Remember, you start with the yellow and the red first, because most of our browns that we like are mostly warm browns, not the dark blue things. So you mix these two and get a nice orange. And then you pull in some blue, just a little bit of blue.
Just a flatter declares.
Just a little bit of blue, and you'll get a brown. And it might take practice to get that brown, and that might be what you accomplish today is brown. But that means you still can go back to the videotape later on and work on that. If you have your own brown mix already, then you don't have to worry about that.
We have one person that said, how soon will the demo be online? My hand dexterity is problematic, and so they're still working on their tape.
Mary, there's a question for you about when the tape will be available, because she's still working on the blue part.
Yes, I just saw that. I just typed back. We'll try to have it up on Monday. I'll see if I can get it up earlier than that over the weekend, and we can send a notice out. But certainly by Monday, we should be able to have the recording up.
Okay, so when you get, I don't quite have mine perfect, but I want to move on. Like I said, usually my demos are not finished paintings. I'm gonna, once you get the ground, you're gonna pull out your birch trees like that. Careful, it's gonna be full of paint. You'll want to wash your hands after you get them. So that you don't get paint on where you don't want it. Like on the floor like mine. My brush, they hit the floor. Now this one, I put more than one piece of tape on, so sometimes getting the tape off is not always the easiest. I like to start at the top usually. Yeah, sure.
One lady says the color should be brown.
Thank you for the person who likes my ground colors. Remember, ground is not the same color all the way across, not like a coloring book when you're a kid. The beauty of the tape thing is that you didn't have to paint around all this. This is why I like using this one. I like what happens when you pull off the tape. Now, notice that here some of my paint bled under, but you know what? That's okay because it makes it look more interesting. And when I add my black parts, remember the birch tree has all kinds of black things on it. I can just paint that part black if I want. I don't have to, but I can. There you go. And one more for me. Now I realize you might still be working on your ground. That's okay. I haven't been told how long I have, so I'm kind of gonna move on.
But it is recorded.
And it is recorded, so you can go back. Now my sky is dry. My ground down here is not. So this is the perfect time for me to start putting in some of my leaves. Now my leaves, I want them to be golden, yellow and orange. And I like to put red in. Even though birch trees might not have red in them, I like it. So I'm gonna, in my world, the birch trees have red leaves also, or red in the leaves. So as an artist, you can decide how you want to do it. They can also be aspen trees because they're basically, they look the same from a distance. And if you live near aspen trees, they really get messy, can you tell? Anyway, you live in the aspen trees, they're really pretty golden yellow. So because I've been mixing on so many different plates here, I'm just going to shift to a new one because I have a whole stack of these. I'm going to start with my yellow because it's going to be my main color. So I'm going to make a good pile of that. Not too much because I'm not really going to be covering that much stuff. And I want that blue to show through too. So I don't want to go too crazy. And then I'm going to add, I got some red here. I'm kind of cheap, so I'm going to add some of that red with the brush. No, I got a clean one yet. So I'm going to rinse my brush because I want it to be mostly yellow, remember? Get it nice and rinsed in my dirty water first. Then rinse it in my clean water. Careful if your clean waters and waters are in the same type of cup you're drinking from. You don't want to drink that. Some people, be surprised, they put their brush in their drinking water. Okay, so now I want mostly yellow, so I'm just going to sneak some of the red here in a little petal here, and then I'm going to pull some of the yellow over and getting an orange, Well, that's a pretty orange. I like that orange. And then I'm going to pull it just a little bit down here, some more. So now I have a really golden orange. I don't want to use straight yellow. I don't like to use straight pigments. Over here, I'm going to make mostly yellow with just a hint of red in it. And then I said I wanted some red in it. Well, it's going to be more of an orangey red. So I'm just going to come over here and grab some of that red and get some of that. Now I want a dry brush when I do this, so I'm going to go clean my brush again. Well, not a dry brush, but one that's not full of paint. So I'm just going to put a little bit of paint on the tip of my brush. So I'm cleaning it again. And even though if it's not going to be completely dry, I am going to take it to a paper towel. Make sure that it's mostly dry. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to dip the tip of my brush in my paint. And notice I didn't load up from just one area. I kind of tapped it across. And then when I add when I start to add my yellow, I just tap the screen. The more I add to my brush, the more I build up. And then the blue is going to start to go away and you're going to start to cover. So it's not going to necessarily cover all of the blue. Oh, let's add some red to it. And don't be afraid. Just let it go across. I should have made more paint. My paint dried already. Must have been the fan got it. So we're just kind of bouncing it on there. And we keep layering it. As you go across, don't worry about finishing that layer yet. Because we're going to come back and it'll be a little bit drier. And then we can hit it again.
Question from Omni. Are you using the round brush?
I'm using the flat brush still. I won't use the round brush until I get to do details on the birch tree. Or some of the grass at the bottom.
Question. If the paint dries, can we go back and finish coloring in?
Oh yeah, you can with acrylic. You can do that, no problem.
Repeat the question. If the paint dries, we can go back and finish coloring in.
Yes, you can. If the paint dries, I'm sorry, I should have said that. If the paint dries, you can go back and finish coloring again.
She wrote also her arms are tired, so
take a break. Yep. If you are tired, go ahead and take a break. And you can just watch it and see how we do it. And then if you want to watch the tape to finish it, you can. Okay. Notice I'm not filling it in all the way because I want my sky to show through too. Now I'm going to start over again on the left and get another layer of paint on top. Again, notice you can still see the blue through it. Now I have to mindfully think, I want to keep the blue, at least some of it, or I'll be just sad. Because part of the beauty is the contrast of the blue and the other colors. And you just keep on going back over and over until you think that your forest has enough leaves. I want more orange. Oh, gotta drip, gotta get that. There There we go. So you kind of get the idea of how that works. What time is it, Bill?
It is 10 till 3.
Okay, it's almost an hour. Mary, how long do we
No,
have?
I think this is good. This has just been extraordinary. Our Feel Good Fridays usually are shorter than this, Laura, but thank you for spending the time, and everybody has been hanging in there because they're so interested in this, and it was so wonderful to see what you've created there in a short amount of time, really. And thank you so much for sharing all the creative tips and the props that you brought, including the big branch. So we really appreciate this. And we, again, have been recording this. We'll send it out and, you know, share it with everybody so that you can go back and you can review the recording and be able to do it at your own pace. But these have been some incredible tips. And we really appreciate, Laura, you walking us through all of this.
This is what I do with the Sharpie. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
Okay. And I also can add with the round brush branches at the end. And then at the bottom, I'm just going to quickly demonstrate. It's going to be the wrong color. It's going to be blue because I don't have any brown right now. You can add foliage at the bottom of your trees. As you go, so that they aren't just standing in flat. Does that make sense?
Okay. Same question. How do we get leaves on the ground?
Okay, that's what I was just doing right now. You don't use blue. Use brown. And you just pull up like this. Up. Little happy ups.
Just, and one person wanted to know, can you take the time just to see a tree painted?
Well, it's up to Mary. Mary, do I have time to finish one tree and put the
If you can, if you don't mind staying a minute, I'm not sure how long will that take?
Not very long.
Okay, great.
About 2 minutes.
People are still hanging in there, so there's great interest. So thank you, Laura.
So notice how this is round. It's got those little spots on it. So here I have that one spot that I didn't like. So I'm going to fill that in with a Sharpie or with a round brush and put some wrinkles around it. And instead of going straight across, you need to do more of a U across so that it feels like it's a round tree instead of a flat tree. So you can put some edges on it, but don't outline it. Kind of like that.
One person said, how can we share it with you?
How can you share it with us, Mary? How can they share it?
So if you can send it to my email address, which is mcgowan@myositis.org. I'll put it again in the chat. Myositis.org. That would be the best place to share it with. And then from there, I can share it more broadly.
You really want your leaves to get dark like this. This is if you did a sunset behind it. Okay, thank you very much for your time and happy painting.
Laura, thank you so much. This was extraordinary. And thank you to everybody who participated today. What a lot of fun this was, and hope you enjoy your paintings, and please do share them. We'd love to be able to share with others. And again, if anybody's interested in doing a Feel Good Friday, or if you have a particular topic that you're interested in having us create a Feel Good Friday for, please let us know. Again, thank you, everyone. Be safe, enjoy the weekend, and take care. Thanks again, Laura. Bye-bye.